Hi folks, it's your humble homesteader friend coming to you from my homestead in Canada. Looking out the window, a lot of leaves are down, and up on the ridge though some trees still have their leaves. It's mid-fall. Today I want to review a action camera that I recently bought, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. So why do I need an action camera? Well, pretty much everything I do is either in the forest, or if I'm in the car driving to town to show you the neighborhood or my drive, or chit chat, what's on my mind, what's been on your mind. Or if I'm walking through the forest with it, just showing you little points of interest as I see them. And the camera that you're looking at me, watching me through now, this recording now, is just a regular camera. And I wish it had a wider lens, but it doesn't. I think the widest is 16 millimeter on it. Anyway, and so whereas this action cam here, this is the good now, has a pretty wide. It has a wide setting, and it has an extra wide setting, pretty sure, or super wide, which that one doesn't. And also, even though that one has an anti-shake, or whatever you want to call it, setting, it's not really true. It's just for, like, just in case somebody bumps, nudges you or something, maybe you won't notice it, but not if I'm walking through the forest up and down sort of a rough terrain. That camera won't do it. So I thought, and this is waterproof too, up to 10 meters. That's another good for this. So that's two good things about it. They are all action cams are cheaper than the sort of a whatever that is, mirrorless cameras. Certainly cheaper than DSLR cameras. That's three things going for this and all action cams. So let's see what else is good about it. Well, they are small. You can put them in your pocket, and they weigh very little. So that's four good things going about it. Now, you can buy these. This particular one is a Brave 7LE. It comes with a whole bunch of stuff that, the package that, all of these things, all of these action cams come in, like this sort of a clear for underwater, or maybe if you go skiing or whatever, just a protective case or waterproof case. All these other attachments. This is just all standard. They all have that. Oh, a remote control, which is very handy. I never actually used it, but all these accessories, let's call them. But none of these accessories, I mean, I'm sure they're useful to some people, and maybe to me one day, were as useful as what I wanted one, which was a handheld thing, not called a gyroscope. You know what I'm talking about. And then, or the kind that I can, like a suction cup that I can put on the inside of a car for my driving. So I had to buy that extra, and that was, I think, $30 plus tax and shipping, whatever. So anyway, this was my go-to camera for a month not before, but in addition to the one that's recording right now, the regular mirrorless one, because they were just so versatile. They come in price range of anywhere from $50 to, there are a couple of really, I don't want to say name brands. They're the brands that most people buy. The high end, I don't even want to say high end. They're, the names, the ones that I don't want to name them, because this is not a sponsored, by the way, review, and I don't want to advertise for someone, especially since they're not any better than this. So those ones cost, I don't know, $700, maybe more. These are Canadian funds, currency, but I did do some reviews of them. Did see, look up the reviews, and those expensive ones, they're really not much better than the mid-range ones, and this is a mid-range one, and not the cheapest one. And I'm old enough to know and have experienced enough to know that you really don't want the cheapest thing, because you buy it and you end up wasting all that time. You end up returning it and then moving up anyway. So I bought this because I thought it had decent ratings. Certainly the same ratings as the high-end ones, but for a fraction of the cost. This one was over $200 Canadian. I don't know. Was that on sale? It might have been on sale, but less than $300 Canadian. So I shot a lot with it, and I learned, because I'm new to this, and even last time I had a regular camera like the one that's being used right now was almost 40 years ago. So I'm new to all of these recording things anyway. So recently, in the past couple of weeks, I've noticed that it's got many issues. One time it just didn't record at all. So I lost, well, I shouldn't say one time, 2 times. 2.5 hours. So actually more than 2 times, 3 times. 2 times, because each recording gives you, each full battery gives you 1 hour. Oh, 5 good things about this. It comes with 2 batteries that they charge relatively fast, not slow, in the middle. Which is good if you're shooting. You need another battery on the go. This comes with 2 batteries. That's 5 good things going for this one. And so it didn't record at all, and I couldn't figure out what had happened. For a new camera, never dropped it. I take care of it. I don't. My resources are limited, so I have to. I mean, even if my resources weren't limited, I like to look after my tools so that I can keep them for longer. They're not disposable. So I did some research, and I found that somebody said you have to reformat your card. Maybe that might help, as one of the options. So I did it, and it worked. Good. Okay, fine. Now the card's reformatted again since I bought it for the first time. Let's do it. And then again it happened. So 2.5 hours of wasted, lost footage. Now, I don't know anyone that can say that, well, it's just 2.5 hours of your life, you'll get that back somehow. I can't replace those 2.5 hours, because, like I said, I was out in the forest. I was walking. The leaves were in the glorious kaleidoscope colors, and by the time you get your footage, you transfer it, upload it to your computer, then you have to resize it, resize it, so that it doesn't take up your entire memory space of your computer. Then all of these things, to watch it and all that, takes a long time. So anyway, if only the problems ended there. Then I noticed that, I had noticed this before, but I just thought that, well, I'm also old enough to know that you can't nitpick. You can't You can't get upset over everything, every little thing. So every time I turn this on, it starts recording. Why? I haven't commanded it to. And how does it know that I don't want to take a still shot? And then, as if that's not bad enough, so that's one bad thing, was that it starts recording on its own at whatever setting, random setting that it wants to. And the first thing was that it didn't record. Like I said, I lost 2.5 hours of record time. The third bad thing is that I set the setting to what I like, just like any other camera or anything else. And until you change that setting, my understanding is that it should remain at the setting that you set it at until such time that you want to change it to a different setting. For instance, if I'm driving, I want it to be upside down so I can, from time to time, I glance at it to see if it's recording. That's something special that you do. And it gives you a lot of many settings for how you want it to record: natural, normal, black and white, whatever. But I only use one setting. But say in an odd case that I want it to be something else, then I would have to go back and set it to that one particular time that I'm setting under those circumstances. It doesn't do that. It just does whatever it wants. Third worst thing is that for some reason, I don't know if this is unique to this camera or all these action cams do it. They segment it into 1 or 3 or 5 minute segments. Why? I don't understand. The camera that's recording right now doesn't do it. It just shoots till I say stop, and then if I reposition the camera and restart, then it records, and that's a different segment. I get that. But if I haven't turned this off, or I haven't even stopped it for what to reposition, it just continuously shooting. Why is it segmenting it? I didn't like that, but when I figured that out, I put it on the 5-minute segment, and it's a hassle because when you upload it and when you try to resize it, and you have to go every 5 minutes to find which one wasn't resized and bring it down and resize that one, save it some for each single every 5 minutes, even though you've not stopped it, it does that. That was a huge pain in the butt. But again, if it would have stopped at that. That's, I think, 3 things that I don't like about this. The fourth thing is that it does that, what I just said, segmenting it at random, even though I don't want any of those. It's just one time it could be 1 minute. Every minute it divides it. So if I shoot, say, 45 minutes of continuous without moving the camera whatsoever, pressing any button whatsoever, because I could be far from it, maybe 500 feet from it, 400 feet from it, it had divided it into 1 minute segments. So 45 1 minute chopped up segments that I had to go back and do the uploading and resizing to. But again, if only it had stopped at that. Fifth bad thing about it, and this is another horrible thing. This is really ugly. It's not even bad. It's just pure ugly. And that is when it would go from this tiny mini SD card. When I'm uploading it to the computer, it would send it at random, not the same sequence that it was shot. Not only it had divided it into 3 or 1 or 5 minute segments, it also sent it uploaded at random, whatever. So like you could be first minute into the shoot, 10 minutes into the shoot, so that's 10 segments if it was 1 minute, 20 minutes into the shoot, and it would all be jumbled up, and I would have to watch this entire thing and figure out what was where and click on it, highlight it, bring it over, try to put it in the right sequence. That's a lot of frames. I know that I don't have a regular job and I live off the grid, as you know, and life is simple where I'm trying to make it as simple as I can. And this complication. I don't know anyone that has time for this, all this hassle. Now, if you can, some of you are more experienced in this and have bought and more experience with many different brands of action cams. You can tell me if this is universal to all of them. In that case, I will take your advice. I would see that as advice and not buy an action cam because they're clearly 100 years away from being productive. And or if there's something wrong with this particular camera or this particular brand, Akaso, I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm returning this if I can. By the way, that's the other thing. I bought this from Amazon, which I don't really want to. I try not to buy from Amazon as much as I can, unless I can't find an item elsewhere. This was bought through Amazon, fulfilled by Amazon, whatever else by Amazon. I went on their website trying to return it, and I had a hell of a time trying to figure out how to do it. I still don't know. I have to ask family members to try to decipher this for me because it took me through many steps and then of returning, and then the last step, it took me back to the first one. This is the largest retailer? This is the program? Who's writing the program for these people? Unbelievable. I mean, if someone came to my place and said, oh, look, you're so, whatever that you're doing is so, not archaic, but so, I guess, primitive, more like the word I would use, I would say yes. And I'm not pretending that it isn't. It's very simple, it's very crude, rudimentary, and I'm even saying it, I'm even advertising it as such. But to say you're the largest retailer and a go-to place for many people I know a lot of people that buy from Amazon and even neighbors, and so how such incompetence? Anyway, that was 5 or 6, no, not 5 or 6, two, maybe even 3 really horrible things about this camera. One of the things that's just annoying, just bad, is that it doesn't have I mean, if it does, it's their own proprietary external wireless mic. Now, if this thing had a super good, clear, whatever mic that's on board, internal, that would be one thing. But I don't know of any action cam or a regular cam that can pick up the presenter's voice from a decent amount of distance. So these things do come in wired mics that you have to buy of their own. But if you're doing an action cam, I'm just trying to picture in what would be the circumstance that you would have this wire hanging from you, and and you have an action cam. You skiing down the hill? No. If you're running and then this wire hanging from you, or in my particular case, if I'm in the forest many feet away, how long should this wire be? 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, 400 feet? I don't get it. Now, 2 screens, I don't know really why. I mean, who can see this tiny thing from any distance? If I were these people, if they were to take my feedback, I would say, maybe get rid of this. I don't really know what this other screen is for. Make the camera more user-friendly. Don't let it at random pick how it wants to shoot. Go by how I want it to shoot, or the person that's the videographer or the photographer is shooting. I want to say for this price, you can tolerate these, but I honestly cannot tolerate this. Even if this was $50, I wouldn't say, folks, what do you want for $50? It's going to have issues because you're wasting precious time that you don't. I'm too productive to be doing something more than one time. And it's not efficient. And so even at $50, I wouldn't buy this, because you end up doing the work and then you probably end up being so frustrated that I want to return it. And I'm at a stage of my life that I don't want to be frustrated. I'm trying to be less frustrated, breathe more, expect that things go wrong. I like the fact that these folks are making an effort to have something alternative to those big expensive ones, not big, the same size expensive ones. And by us buying their products, maybe now they have time to do more into research and development. I appreciate that. But really, this is just asking too much. I think don't sell stuff. Build, make whatever that you can that becomes so good that you can make a name for yourself, and you can be the go-to name or the gold standard, and put the big boys that also have issues. For instance, one of the expensive ones, I saw a review that somebody said that it would freeze when the battery got hot. When the battery got hot, and it was just, the screen would be black. You know, to spend like $700+ on something like that, I don't understand it. And I heard some audio quality from it with a stick that somebody had recorded, and that's how long is that stick? Not that long, and it wasn't good. And the wind noise wasn't that good, and the wind noise isn't all that good either. You know, even when you put it on the noise reduction. Anyway, I would give this 2 stars out of 5. 1 whole star is just because they've tried to go against the big boys. But I'm going to try to return this, and maybe I'll give these Akaso people one more try of this is the second most expensive. So I'll go to the one that's the most expensive one, and to see if that's any better. I'll do these reviews for you of whatever that you want me to, and if any company wants me to do a review, I'm putting these things through regular rigorous circumstances and uses, so that you don't have to. You can just, if it passes my scrutiny, then I think you should be good with it. And as for the companies that make any tool that I use, if you really value true, honest reviews and feedback, then maybe you can take my reviews and improve on your products. And then I do have products that I really like, and I will show you. And then you can see what the difference between a really good product, a mediocre, and a bad one is. Again, not knocking this down, I'm still happy that these people made an effort. So you get a whole star from me just for trying. Anyway, that's all for today on this Akaso Brave action cam. Thanks for being here. Bye.